Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about starvation mode and what the body really does and doesn't do with starvation and stalls and fat loss. And I want to give credit to Alex Viata on this one because this was inspired by a status he made yesterday, even though this is topics I talk about. I just found his rant amusing and it inspired me to do a video on this. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little crafting, and let's talk about it. And guys, this is something I do know a lot about. I have studied in depth for many, many years because obviously for people who observe, I don't find cutting particularly easy. I don't find fat loss particularly easy, but at least I can be honest about what that is that's causing it. You think it's caused from the fact that I starve myself and I do too little cardio? That's what keeps me at a pretty high body weight. All that extra cardio I do in starvation, I'm going into starvation mode? No, it's because I'm hungry. I have an insane, mind-boggling appetite, and the discomfort of starving myself doesn't weigh out against any perceived benefits of getting ripped. I just don't see any perks to being ripped versus having to suffer. Now, I can admit that. And that's why I end up staying at just a healthy body fat and not really care about getting ripped. I have no interest in it. So, that being said, what is it that's going on with the starvation mode? Because people are always like, oh yeah, you need to increase your calories. That's why your weight loss has stalled. You're going into starvation mode. All right, guys, that is complete bullshit. It is not backed by science. We have overwhelming amounts of scientific data showing that it's bullshit. Again, people could start reading. I would even have space in the comments below to even link every study out there. I would not even have a tenth of the space available to do so. This is so easy that you guys can just start Googling and find study after study, starting with the Minnesota starvation experiment. Start there, and that'll lead you down a trail. But we know what the body does in starvation. It's been heavily studied. You know what? They studied it in Auschwitz. And then we've done further studies later on human beings in the military and everything else. We've studied starvation. What starvation does not do is cause your weight loss to stall. All right, dropping your calories too low never ever slows down fat loss. It does a lot of things, but that's not one of them. And we're going to get to what's really going on with stalled weight loss for people. Number one of the things your body does, it prioritizes lowering your metabolism and your energy output. Yes, but it doesn't do so by making you hold on to body weight. Your body does nothing in starvation mode to help you retain body fat. It does nothing to help you retain body weight. It also does nothing to help you retain muscle mass. Again, all your body wants to do when you are in starvation mode is find a way to slow down your caloric expenditure. It has a very, very limited amount of resources it can do with that hormonally. You can only shift your metabolism 100, 200 calories, probably at the most, through your body, like lowering hormones. But it will lower those hormones because it needs to. But once those are lowered, that's it, it's done. So how do you get the body to slow down caloric burn when you're starving? Several things. You focus on survival only, which means keeping organs and everything running. You don't try to retain muscle mass. It drops body fat as quickly as it can because it's got a fuel source immediately available. Body fat is fueled. When you are starving, your body will tap into body fat a lot faster. A lot faster. That should be the first key that you're not in starvation mode. You're not dropping body fat at a scary rate. The scale's not dropping at a scary rate. You're not in starvation mode. Because that's what starvation mode really means. Your body starts shedding fat to keep it alive for fuel, and it starts shedding muscle tissue. It's fairly quickly, and the reason muscle tissue burns a lot of calories. If you want to keep from starving to death, the best thing your body can do is dump unnecessary muscle mass that it doesn't need. So it dumps muscle mass, it taps into its fuel reserves, its fat, because even carrying that fat around burns calories. It requires calories to carry extra body weight. So actually it does the opposite. Starvation mode, your body will dump weight fast because it will start tapping into fat harder. It will start tapping into muscle tissue to get rid of that pesky muscle that's keeping your metabolism up. That's how it lowers metabolism, is muscle loss. That can be offset through weight training, higher protein diets, drugs, and trying to not to lose weight too fast. Those are the different methods you have to stop that, but your body will absolutely start shedding muscle tissue. Absolutely, when it goes into true starvation mode. It does a couple other things also. It does some other things also. Number one, it tries to lower your energy expenditure. It makes you lethargic so that you don't expend energy that isn't necessary to find food. It also lowers sex drive, and it does that through lowering hormones in your body because your body has no priority to keep you reproducing when you're starving. So it can start lowering sex hormones, which incidentally are lipid-based anyway, so they lower like a lot of other hormones. It starts dropping your sex hormones down. That will also help you lose muscle quicker because you're not keeping those anabolic hormones up that help build that muscle. You can lower muscle faster. You can lower sex drive. Because if you are starving to death and you don't have enough food available to survive, the last thing your body wants you doing is chasing pussy. That could kill you. Your body's priority is to stay alive. So it wants you to avoid any extra physical activity that doesn't involve food. It's not going to want you interested in getting any pussy unless there's a big piece of cake on top of it. All right? And that's one of the things you'll notice also, that you know that you are going, you've got calories too low when you are no longer interested in sex. When given a choice between sex and a piece of cake, you'll choose the piece of cake. That's how one of the reasons that you know that you have your calories too low right there. And the scale drops dramatically. So why is it that people get on these diets and they stall on weight loss? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one is going to be fluid retention. Number two is going to be psychological. You do get some fluid retention because when you're losing fat quickly, your body tries to reach a state of homeostasis, and it realizes you've lost tissue all through that area, so it will sometimes hold additional fluid and water there to maintain the balance because it thinks there's supposed to be something there, so it will put water there for a little while, but that will eventually come off. That's temporary. So you can see some temporary water retention that'll keep your weight constant for a week or two, sometimes even if you've lost several pounds in that week, and then boom, you'll drop 4 or 5 pounds on the scale at once after 2 or 3 weeks. It'll just swoosh off in 24 hours. That is one thing going on. Number two, there's a psychological component. The other thing that your body does is that it tries to make you focus so much on eating food, and if your body can tell that you're intentionally avoiding food, your survival mechanisms will kick in. How do you keep someone alive subconsciously? And this has been studied, by the way. This is not my speculation. There are studies on this, in-depth studies out there that you can find. But I like to talk about being metabolic derangement, that when you're on too restrictive of a diet and your calories are too low, and your brain starts to realize that you are doing it purposefully, it will convince you that you're not eating. Meaning you can keep a food log and measure and weigh everything out perfectly, and you're just going to forget that you ate 1,000 calories that you forgot to track. And when I mean forget, I'm talking studies have been done on this to where the people will deny till they're blue in the face, even when confronted with video evidence that they ate food. Like when you put them in a metabolic ward and you drop people on like 1,200 calories a day with physical activity, and you film them and have hidden cameras film everything they eat, and you have them track a food log, they will eat 1,000 calories. Once they start reaching true starvation mode, which will happen pretty quick on 1,200 calories, they will eat 1,000 calories and forget to record it, and they will be so convinced that they didn't eat it because their brain plays a trick on them that gives them selective amnesia, that they will scream and deny that they ate that 1,000 calories, and then they freak out when they see the video evidence. When you show them the videos, they don't know how to handle it because they don't remember eating that food that they ate in the video. They're positive they don't remember it. And they know, and it's like subconsciously they know they're lying to the researchers because they know that they ate it, but their conscious brain doesn't remember it. They have no memory or recollection of doing so. So when you get people who are like, well, I'm running this amount of calories, I'm running 1,200 calories a day or 1,300 calories, and I'm doing 2 hours of cardio, it must be my metabolism slowing down, I'm in starvation mode. No, it's because you're eating 1,000 calories of cake and fucking ice cream that you forgot you ate. And it's not your fault. Well, it is your fault, but it's not. Meaning you don't have control over that selective amnesia, but you had control to know that it was fucking retarded to go on 1,200 calories a day as an active adult. That's where you messed up. You should have known that was a really stupid idea. And if you had a coach who told you to do that, your coach is a fucking moron. Now, that's why it is your fault, because you should have known better. But it's not your fault that you forgot the 1,000 calories that you ate extra every day. Because again, that is what the human brain does to you. you will have selective amnesia when you are eating. And that is one of the problems with people dropping calories too low or trying to run too large of a calorie deficit. The reason they stall on their weight loss is because their appetite and their survival instinct is too high to allow them to do what they're trying to do. All right, it's a bad idea for that person. Their appetite and their survival instinct will not allow them to drop their calories as low as they are trying to do. And the consequences are going to be that they're going to binge, they're going to overeat, and they will very possibly forget about it. And literally forget to the point to where if you could literally bet them their entire life savings that they actually ate it, and they will be so convinced that they didn't, that until confronted with video evidence, people will not remember. They won't remember that they ate it. So for the people who are entering this starvation mode and they're eating 1,200 calories a day or 1,300, or even an adult male eating 1,500 calories a day and doing an hour or 2 hours of cardio every day, whose weight loss has stalled for 3 weeks straight, or they've gained a pound, they are absolutely 100% chance binging. And if that's you doing it, you've actually forgotten that you do it. This has been heavily studied. We know that this starvation mode that slows metabolism down or makes you regain weight doesn't happen in a laboratory. The human body does not do that. It doesn't do it. But what does happen is selective amnesia and binging, and that we have confirmed in multiple studies in the metabolic ward that is absolutely what happens. So that's actually what's happening in starvation mode. And the reason, here's why it goes away. When people increase their calories and they go back to a reasonable amount of calories and just a really small caloric deficit, the reason they start losing weight again is because they stop having the binging episodes and selective amnesia. They stop having the binges and the messes up in their diet that they forget about. They're actually eating less calories per week when they go to the higher calories than they were when they were actually starving themselves. They just don't realize it. So that's what's actually going on with starvation mode. And that's the reality of it. So the whole point is, don't try to starve yourself. Don't do stupid shit that makes you try to lose 3 pounds every week. It's a bad idea. Unless you are really, truly morbidly obese. And the bodybuilding world's definition of morbid obese doesn't need to be taken into consideration because they are so delusional they don't understand what that means. Morbidly obese means you've got 100 pounds of extra body fat. All right, there you go. Not 15% body fat or you have love handles. Because I understand that in the bodybuilding world, that's morbidly obese. But you guys have to remember, most bodybuilders are fucking delusional. And they have no concept of reality or body image. It tends to go with the territory in that area. And so their coaches are generally the same way. Most of them. Some exceptions. But about half the coaches are just as delusional. So when we say morbid obesity, we don't mean they've got some love handles. We mean someone who needs to lose 100 pounds. Just to clarify that. Those people can lose 3 or 4 pounds a week. They can go on a 1,400 calorie diet. Active, healthy people, no. You're going to have psychosis as a result of it. All right, guys. So that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. And I will talk to you guys next time.